Hey, what is up, guys? My Retro Revival here, and it's gonna be a little bit of a different video. I've been wanting to do something like this for a good while, and that is just a room collection room tour, game room tour, just kind of going over, you know, the room and the functionalities of the room. This is a very function over form. It would be nice to have one of those insane collection rooms that, have got pieces spanning this, that, and everywhere, but it's due to one room being the limitation here. So where I sleep, where I stream, where I play games, where I do everything, I'll try and make it so things aren't so like glossy, because of course, trying to record game boxes and stuff with the light flashing on it never really works. But without further ado, we'll start big and move backwards. One of the big things I got this year, right before the Christmas year, for myself was a PS5. I got myself a PS5 Slim, and I absolutely loved it. I have already beaten God of War 2018. I have already beaten Spider-Man 2. Um, Astro's Playroom, I 100%ed. So I can't wait to get in. I'm kind of not on the ground floor, because this is a 4-year-old console now, but, I don't think they're going to be releasing the PS6 anytime soon. So getting in on the ground floor on what is the next generation of consoles is going to be really, really nice. Here's my PS5 box. I just love it. It's great. Behind this actually is my PS4 box for my PS4 Slim, or not Pro, but yeah, PS4 Slim. Um, Nice little oddity there. Up here is my pre-order bonus for Tears of the Kingdom and my amiibo. I don't have that anymore. I got rid of my Switch a good while ago. I loved the Switch concept, but playing it and $60 every time you want to play a game for a Nintendo property, it's just like the games were super kid-ish. I wasn't really vibing with the experience of the Switch, but some of the games were great. Just some printed off art. Nita Hand is a really nice 2000s era poster for Medieval 2, and the Dark Watch cover is great. You can't walk in here without, seeing all of the art on the walls, and even spanning, you've got posters, everywhere. Over here, and this framed San Andreas is probably the piece de resistance, honestly. It's nice. I framed it. In fact, all of my GTA posters were framed, but eventually, the frames either broke or fell apart. Couple notable things. I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but this was given to me for my birthday. I know the book's gonna fall, but there's a C3PO in there in the book, and it's all original. That is my original launch day Oculus box. This was before they were calling it Meta. Over here, these, without them falling, are the Walmart Game On magazine. I maybe talk about those in a future video. The Steam controller in the box with all the stuff. I removed the batteries because, batteries are bad after a while. Alright, so now we're getting to the collection. I'll kind of go slow because I know you might want to see what I have. A lot of the NES stuff is heavy hitters, of course. Definitely stuff you'd want to see, but just an amalgamation of a lot. My collection is curated. I know kind of everyone has that like joke, but it's a smaller collection. Me being a dumbass, obviously I panned over to the Nintendo 64 games like they had end labels, so I kind of want to just tell you what I had. Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest, Episode 1 Racer, WCW World Tour, Smash Bros. Remix, Super Mario 64, Mortal Kombat 4, and Mario Party, as well as Forsaken 64. Because it's all stuff that I find that I want to play, and the value of this and that. Like I like stuff like Bushido Blade, but it's really expensive. If I find a copy for cheap, eventually it will work its way into my collection. But at this point in time, it's just stuff like that where it's a little too expensive, but I do want it. Ape Escape 2 is by far my favorite game. Ape Escape on the on the PS2. Um, Although not here is Dark Watch for the PS2. Although I do have it on Xbox, so stuff like that where it's like if I can't get it on one console, I will get it on the other. Um, I try to stay away from greatest hits. I do like the original copies of the game. Um, as you can see, a lot of uh, jam packs. I do appreciate demo discs in their way that you'll never get a game that will be unreleased, but you do get to see a game that is coming out. It's really interesting. Lego Star Wars 2, of course. Motocross Mania 3 is a dirt cheap game, but very fun. Pitfall: The Last Expedition, that game is insane. Nobody talks about that game. There was a girl on YouTube who did like uh what do you call that? A retrospective of the Pitfall game, and that's like the only game I hear talk about from there. The Thing is good. The Thing actually just got remastered on on PC. I saw that's cool. So now we're into the game, the Xbox stuff. Dark Watch is there on Xbox. Pitfall as well, double up. Um, and then Stubbs the Zombie, A Rebel Without a Cause is good. When I was a kid, the PS2 was my console growing up, like when I was a kid, but the Xbox 360 was like my teenage console playing, Black Ops and stuff. I mean, incredible. The PS3 was a console my dad owned. He was huge into the PS3. Um, and I didn't really like understand. I always was like, oh, the PS3 Xbox 360 is better than the PS3, and of course I would sneak off and play the PS3 from time to time. And whenever he caught me, he would gloat and be like, "Oh, playing that PS3, huh?" And I'd be like, "No, curated we." So it's like a lot of this stuff. So it's a smaller collection. I mean, small in the sense of like, this is not wall spanning, but I mean, it is 485 games. PS4 stuff is something I recently got into, owning a PS4, and now the PS5. Got a good collection of good stuff. God of War, Ragnarok, PS4 God of War I beat. Uncharted, Power Washing Simulator. I mean, just great, great stuff. The Xbox One is not one I typically collect for because all the games are on Game Pass, so that's why it's just like 5 games. This is, but I know it's gonna be super dark, but um, the Nintendo stuff, it's like all curated Nintendo pickup stuff like 2DS XL, which I do play. I know it's on display. Game Boy Macro, which I turned a DS Lite into a Game Boy player. But I eventually just bit the bullet and put a nice mod on this Game Boy Advance. So, you know, just like random stuff like the Marty McFly doesn't fit, but he has that like 80s aesthetic, and the Legend of Zelda and the Fallout Boy, just like random stuff. But In terms of consoles, we got the NES, Super Nintendo, GameCube. The bongos are there because I did have a Sega Genesis and a Nintendo 64, but I gave those away to people that wanted them so they can play them. Not to say that I don't play them, but to see them play it more than me. Wii U, TurboGrafx 16. I know it's super dark and barely can see it, but TurboGrafx 16 is an insanely good console. The PS1, the PS2, 3, 4, 5 now. And then the Xbox 360 is there, usually would sit down there, but original Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So there is a little bit of everything. When it came to playing games, it was a lot of pop game in and just like play and never really get excited. But when I got my PS5, I was glued to Spider-Man. I was glued to God of War. I could not stop playing. And I'm hoping that the PS5 is going to like revitalize my interest in games because for a long time I don't want to say bored, but bored is the word I'm going to use. I was bored of playing games. Collecting was kind of taking the forefront, and playing the games were taking a back seat, which stinks because I love these games. The games are just like you pick up a game like, oh man, great game, pick up the game and it's like, yeah, I can't wait to play that. I pop it in and I just have no desire to finish it. A dilemma which I've been kind of facing for a while. Street Fighter 2 Turbo arcade cabinet from One Up Arcade, which is plugged in, marquee lights up, and I am running Android on it to play every single arcade game. And now I can just play anything I want. Um, of course, the downside is, um, a lot of this stuff I don't have room for. It's just like when the collection, when I eventually move to a different room where I have a dedicated area for games, but I have set up I mean, these are all the arcade versions, and they have scan lines in the bezel. I mean, this like plays them really well. You can insert your coin, um, and you can just play. Excellent. I mean, of course, on camera this looks really bad, but this is great. You get the block, the light. I mean, you just sit here and you play. It looks really awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's things like that where the collection is, almost too big for the room that it's in. If I had a designated room for games, then I would have like a shelf for all of my strategy guides. I would almost want it to be like one of those displays where they're out flat and everything. You can grab them well. Back to the closet, there's this box. This is a box full of boxes. I've got my Nintendo Switch, Animal Crossing. I've got my PS3 box, my Turtle Beach headset, which I haven't bought a headset for a console since the 360 days. I mean, you just got all these boxes for things I've collected, and like this this one, Wii Zapper box with Link's crossbow training and everything in it. Just it's too big for the collection. The room is too small. Dual monitor setup with with the TV up there for when I stream games. I just capture card. You know, PC. It's nothing amazing, but it gets me done. So there's a reason why things are the way that they are, and that's due to the size constraint. Would I change it for the world? No, I've got a lovely curated collection. I'm happy that I have my PS5. I'm happy that I have the things that I have. Of course, when I go to a bigger room, things will get better. But this is the 2025 year. I'm can't wait to play my PS5. It's going to be awesome. If you saw a game that you love, comment it. If you something you want to talk about, definitely shoot me a message in the comments, because that's what I always do. retro revive. I'll see you guys in the next video.